morning and welcome. Happy Friday. Yeah, baby. We made it through another week. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. And how you doing? Jason, the echo is horrible. Please fix it for me. Thank you. Talking about all kinds of things happening. We had a lot of economic data out. Everybody's talking about what is going on at the Federal Reserve. Are they trying to overstate how things are really going? And this is a huge issue. A lot of people saying, hey, listen, the Fed just can't come out and say recession. We had something happen today that has not happened since the financial crisis, and that is the inversion of the yield curve. And I'm not talking about a 2-year note and a 10-year note. This was a 3-month note early this morning, yielding more than the 10-year note. The 10-year note got below 2.47. Now, the Fed funds rate is at 2.4%. So and again, this is one of those indicators that has the perfect track record. Now, it hasn't stayed there. So the 3-month note yielding 2.47. I think the 10-year note right at this second anyway, 2.437. So we'll see. So right now, absolutely an inversion between the 3-month and the 10-year. We'll see how it shakes out. But that is one of the indicators that is there. It's 6 for 6. Since we've gone to this central bank fiat money system, a perfect 6 for 6 when it comes to the inversion of the yield curve, as we talked about now, right now, the 2-year note, the 3-year note, the 5-year note, the 7-year note, all yields less than the Fed's funds rate, and the 10-year note right next to it. It's not good. A lot of economic data out all over the world today. There's a reason why the Dow's down 300 points. Matter of fact, the only thing up today, gold. That's it. Get ready to hear that a lot. Jeffrey Gundlach was out again today. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about all the economic from, not just from here, from Germany, from the United States, from all over the globe. Boeing, more issues with Boeing. We heard from Nike today. We heard from FedEx this week. I'm going to give it all to you. We're going to catch all back up and try to hypothesize about where we are headed next. And here's the great thing. See, I don't have to sugarcoat anything. I can just tell you what is real. Unlike the central bank where here's the funny thing. They're supposed to be the watchers of our wealth. And instead, really what they really are, right, it's the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing. They're the stealers of our wealth. The 401k, the biggest robbery, you think about how many there are, but the biggest robbery of all time. Right now, in Illinois, and of course Illinois, the Chicago Orchestra, they're striking. And they're striking because they want to take away their pensions and give them a 401k plan. Smart. I'd strike too. Because guess what? They know, hey, wait a minute. Those 401k plans, they aren't any good. And this is one of the things that we kind of see. We've had this whole 50 years of the Federal Reserve stealing from us, and the central banks and big business, they've been fleecing us. And now, as the baby boomers get ready to retire and aren't retiring, guess what? They don't have enough money. And I'm really, really getting worried now about what's coming forward. Now, we had Neil Kashkari out today. He says, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know. Maybe that's the most honest thing any of the central bankers have said so far. But the yield curve inversion, that's real. This is something every single time has told us, get ready. There's a reason why the Dow's down 320 points right now. The bond market is telling all of us to get ready. I mean, I got to believe we got to start cutting rates soon. I don't know how banks can make any money at all if all of the bonds yield less than what the Fed funds rate is. Incredible, right? Where do we live in interesting times? 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Take the time, get yourself some gold and silver, put it away. Right now, gold $1,312, up about $4.50 right now, $1,312, and I love how gold has reacted. Yesterday was a really important day in the gold market. I'll tell you why after the break. (800-951-0592). Working on a lot of things. Matter of fact, today we got a big meeting tonight because we're going to be working on some things. Fake News Friday. We'll be back at some point. Give it a couple weeks. In a totally different format coming. We are working on getting some things set up, which, of course, really what that means when I say we're working on stuff, means, hey, we're spending a bunch of money. We're going to be spending a bunch of money at 4 o'clock today, and we're bringing in some more equipment. Listen, this, and I mean it when I tell you. 1360 KHNC is the radio station everybody in America is going to want to be listening to. Period. End of the story. We're going to have the best lineup, the best programming. The place that people go to get what's really happening is going to be 1360 KHNC. And just bear with us. Just bear with us. That's all I can tell you. 800-951-0592. So my favorite guy, Double Lines, Jeff Gunlatch, he warned last week. I've been telling you. I know you don't want to believe it. I get it. Right? You're smarter than everybody else. No, you're not. Here's the thing. They've made us a bunch of suckers. Period. Who in the right mind would say, oh, yeah, back in the 80s, yeah, get rid of that. I don't want that pension. That pension, it stinks. Give me a 401k. Right? Look at it. Oh, yeah, now we're going to match a dollar for dollar and this and that. It's going to be great. And they run the commercials on the idiot box and you're walking around with millions of dollars. We just finished one of the greatest bull market runs of all time. And think about it, with a GDP that one time, after we, and really let's call it what it is, after we gave big business huge amounts of tax breaks, that reached 3% one time in 10 years. Yet the stock market's up, I don't even know how many hundreds of percent. Nobody's 401k's up. I don't want to say it's not up, per se, but we just keep putting money in it year after year after year. And by and large, most people, guess what they've got? What they put in. Yeah. And if they've been in long, and if you've been in for 30 years, maybe it doubled. Right? That's it. Right? And everybody knows, right? You're one Alzheimer case, and I don't mean to laugh about it. A stroke, and this and that, and it's all gone. Everybody out there now, you put your, everybody knows somebody who, hey, I've had to put my mom or my wife or my husband or my dad in a home. And the cost, it's incredible. Right? The average person, just to put him, you always want to put him somewhere decent. $5,000-$6,000 a month. And that's not, high end. It'll go quick. But now Jeff Gundlach out again as the whipsaw in the stock market and the dollar, right? And we're seeing it now, really kind of this capitulation. The bond market continuing to remain unimpressed. So understand how this works. When the yields fall, that's the bond market saying, hey, we're looking ahead. Okay. I'm not looking at today, and I'm darn sure not looking at 6 months ago. When the last time we had 3% GDP was 6 months ago. I'm not looking at that. They're looking ahead. And when yields fall, that means, hey, you know what? What we see ahead isn't as good as today. When yields rise, the bond markets say, hey, when we look ahead, things look better. Right? Think about when over the summer, right, the 10-year note got to that whopping 3.27%, something like that, right? It's 3.2. Everybody's all freaking out. Now it's at 2.43. What is it telling you? And falling. So Jeff Gundlach came out and said 3 months ago, right, 12 weeks ago, the Fed predicted a totally different policy. Right? These are the guys, right? This is the guys, they're entrusted with your money. At least what the value of it's supposed to be. How can they predict a 2020 policy with a straight face, he said. These guys are clowns. I'm sorry. I wish they, I know this, and they all studied real hard. Okay? And I didn't, right? I didn't study real hard. And I know that they did. Right? Instead of going to the keggers or going to the drive-in with their girlfriends, they were at home, right, reading their textbooks. But all of this quote-unquote economic theory was just that. A theory. That's never, ever, ever, ever worked. Every currency in the world's gone to Zippo. What's funny is and again, man, our customers, you guys are the best. I was talking to a guy, Jim, yesterday. And he was talking about Basel I. Way back, this was in the 80s. And he was saying how, I think it was on the cover of The Economist magazine. And it had the Phoenix, right? The Phoenix, kind of like my logo, right? The Phoenix. And it was like all the fiat currencies. And they were all on fire. Because even back then they knew. They didn't know when, but they knew this is the beginning of the end. You know what the date was on it? They took a shot at it. It was 2018. Isn't that interesting? The year that central banks bought the most amount of gold since the gold window closed in 1971. They thought that was the year that the fiat game would be over. I think they're going to be close. Maybe within 10 years, right? I keep talking about that 2027 number. Get ready for it. Says Gunlash unleashed on Jay Powell's FOMC warning yesterday. Well, I guess now 2 days ago. That the sudden cautious stance on raising interest rates is going to backfire. Because here's the thing. I think the economy's already turned. They're just not there yet. This U-turn, okay, right? Remember where they were 3 months ago? Under the assumption that nothing fundamentally is changing. Because remember, that's what they said. No, the economy's still good. Is unprecedented. 3 months ago, they were on autopilot with the balance sheet. Now the bond market is pricing in rate cuts. The reversal in their stance is stunning. Listen, it shouldn't be. You know what? I'll be less dramatic about it. These guys are always wrong. They're telling you what they are targeting. It's like they aren't really telling you what their motivation is. Just because things seem invincible doesn't mean that they're invincible. Of course, what is he talking about? Your 401ks. That's what he's talking about. He's not going to say it like that, but I will. There is kryptonite everywhere. Right? Superman's awesome. Right? He can fly. He can blow hot air, cold air. He's got X-ray vision. He can see through stuff. You can shoot him with bullets and it bounces off of him. He can lift any amount of weight. But the one thing that he can't handle is kryptonite. And that's the analogy that Gunlatch used yesterday to describe what is really happening all around the world. Gunlatch, who predicted the collapse of the S&P and posting negative returns in 2018, said the benchmark index is set for another negative year. There you go. You've been warned. I know your financial guys tell, oh, no, it's great. We'll see. The stock market, for now, likes the fact that the Fed aren't going to give them any problems. But things will change quickly and dramatically. Here's what he said. And again, this is not me. I hope he's wrong. But I trust this guy more than anybody. It feels eerily like 07. And I started thinking about that. And I started thinking about defaults. Right? Record defaults on autos. What did they say? 7 million? Something. And growing. 37 billion credit cards are 90 days more past due. 3 straight months now of rising home defaults again, right? Remember 07, the defaults started happening. The stock market was near the all-time high. It was, right? Think about it. What was it, like 14 grand? And the economy is noticeably weaker, right? We knew, you see, in Arizona, we kind of knew late 05 things were starting to feel wrong. In 06, right, the market kept running. I remember Eric and I were doing the shows and we were talking about driving out to the deserts. All these subdivisions, right? They were had graded the land and put in the sewer systems, and then there were ghost towns. Same thing kind of here, isn't it? We peaked out in, the middle of last year? Economy getting considerably weaker. I mean, think about this. Second quarter last year, 4.2% GDP. Now these idiots at the Fed are hoping for 2% GDP for all of this year. That's like half. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast delivering a conservative pro-family perspective since 1983. As an author, speaker, and the founder of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Mrs. Schlafly spent an astounding 70 years in public service, protecting and defending the Constitution, the unborn, and America's sovereignty. Following that legacy, here's the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
There are certain things that unite all of us as American citizens. I'm not talking about baseball and apple pie. I'm talking about the fundamental values that we share. We might have differences of opinion on almost every issue, but you'd be hard-pressed to find someone in America who has a problem with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As we think about these sacred values, we look to the Pledge of Allegiance, a truly American tradition in which we pledge our loyalty not to monarchs or dictators, but to a set of principles. Yet there are some who would seek to expunge even these most fundamental beliefs from our land. I'm sure you've heard of the small but loud crowd of people who go after the words "under God" in the pledge. Now there's a college in California that seeks to ban the pledge for entirely different reasons. Santa Barbara City College gained national headlines for removing the Pledge of Allegiance from their regular board meetings, reportedly for reasons related to its history and symbolism. Robert Miller, who serves on the Board of Trustees, said that the pledge has a history steeped in expressions of nativism and white nationalism. Curiously, Miller had no specific evidence to cite for this claim. He even admitted that the language contained in the pledge is not overtly nativist or xenophobic, but he still insisted that the spirit that animated its creation was steeped in this sort of bigotry. As you might imagine, a stunt like this did not play so well with the American people. Not even at a liberal college in California can you take away a symbol of our very core beliefs as Americans. After tremendous public outcry, the board elected to reinstate the pledge. This is a good solution, but this entire situation should make citizens like you and me question what's really going on in our schools. When we send our kids and our money to places like Santa Barbara City College, is this what we're supporting? Let's reevaluate what influences we allow to teach the next generation of Americans. Because after all, values matter.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. When America turns our back on our Christian heritage, we shouldn't be surprised when biblical precepts like honesty, kindness, respect, justice, and freedom are abandoned. At phyllisschlafly.com, we still believe in rights endowed by our Creator. If you agree, find out more at phyllisschlafly.com. Thanks for listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
800-951-0592. FedEx came out with earnings the other day. And for the second time in as many months, said things are slowing. And you know what was funny is they didn't say, it's China, it's Europe, it's everywhere but the United States. That's not what they said. It's slowing everywhere. And they said, well, thankfully we raised prices. So our revenue in the U.S. was better, but don't make no mistake about it. Volumes are falling. Nike today, by all accounts, pretty good quarter. And Nike said, but already significant drop in orders since the beginning of the year. Slashing guidance, slashing revenues. Then Boeing today. This is one that I've been worried about. We know about the problem. And now, and I hope it doesn't end up this way. But the FBI's involved. Everybody's involved. What did Boeing know? When did they know it? Optional safety features that kind of turns out probably shouldn't have been optional. Because, right, what is the greed? Which, by the way, I don't know about the first plane. I know the second plane didn't have the quote-unquote optional safety features. Hey, listen, if this safety feature is going to cause the plane not to crash, it shouldn't be an option, right? But again, it appears, and it's early, that Boeing knew they had problems. But today, it gets a little worse. Boeing says that they've received their first request for the cancellation of a current order. 49 Boeing 737 MAX jets valued at $6 billion. Listen, Boeing's a big part of the GDP. I mean, these planes are expensive. 49 of them is $6 billion. That's a lot of money. It's like $800 million a plane. Something like that. I mean, right? It's mind-blowing. According to Reuters, citing Boeing CFO, the national carrier of Indonesia said it did not explain why it no longer wanted the planes. I got a pretty good guess. Hey, you know what? Stuff falls out of the sky. And we kind of think you do. We're going to call the Chinese now. Yeah, don't forget. China's starting to make their own planes. How did they get that technology? Oh, yeah, that's right. Boeing gave it to them. Idiots. Now we got to have a trade war because our companies don't care about it and they just wanted to give it all away because they wanted their stock price to go up for a while. Indonesia, the first to publicly confirm plans to cancel the order. And we'll see. I don't know. Is this going to lead to a litany of cancellations? If so, it will have a dramatic effect on GDP. I mean, this could definitely push into recession. That's how big of a, Boeing itself, it's probably, 0.6% or so, in GDP on any given quarter. That's big. It's not government big, but it's pretty big. But, the Federal Reserve, we can't tell. You can't tell? FedEx just told you? Nike just told you? BMW said, hey, guess what? Nobody's buying cars. And this is all out this week. UBS, Switzerland's largest bank. You can't tell? It appears that European stocks, well, they may have some trouble after UBS said after 2018's painful close, UBS said it had one of the worst first quarter environments in recent history. Now, what's recent history? 10 years? 15 years? Or 3 years? I don't know. Because if they're saying recent history is the financial crisis, we need to start paying attention. UBS Investment Bank's revenues were down about 1/3 compared to a year ago. That's 33% for all of us public school kids. The bank says that it's slower in hiring and canceling IT projects as it's trying to make its way through in a weakening market. And again, I'm just telling you. There's a reason why there's only one thing up today, gold. It's the only thing up. Right, gold's up, like I said, $4 here, 13, 12. Silver, right on the cusp of even, right? Silver's hanging around that 15.40 mark. But gold yesterday did something very bullish. So the day on Wednesday, when the central bank was going out to make their big announcement, they announced after gold closes in New York. So 20 minutes before gold closes, everybody sells it. Gold closes 1301, 1302, 1301 and change. And then, 5 minutes later, everybody's got the minutes and they're waiting for Jay Powell and they read the minutes and they say, holy smokes. Something really bad must have happened. Now, they're not going to say that, but let's say that's what, Jeff Dunlap said, well, something bad must have happened for you to do the U-turn. And gold shot up. Again, remember, it closed in New York just below 1302. Opened up at, 1315 or 1316. And yesterday, it went all the way from there, went all the way back to that 1301 and change. And then closed back at like 1307, 1308. Very important. Because it was going to leave a gap in in those charts. And this is, because computers do everything now. But now gold is setting itself up for another good run. I think that's why, again today, the Dow's down 350. Why? Because the bond market is seemingly turning out to be the right one. Because someone had to be right and someone had to be wrong. Either the stock market was right and the bond market was wrong, or the bond market was right and the stock market was wrong. 800-951-0592. Sorry about that break. We've got our handful. We're working on it. The Dow's now down 380 points. Boeing and Nike leading the way. As we're starting this, I think earnings season really kicks off here in earnest in a couple of weeks. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this. A lot more of the Boeing, Nike, we're going slashing, right? Guidance and guidance is going to be lower. Guidance is going to be lower. Guidance is going to be lower, which is right. Sales and profits are going to be worse than what we thought. And of course, we have those really tough comps now, right? Because of the tax cuts, you got those overinflated year-over-year profits that are now going to be close to zero. Kind of see where Jeff Gunletch is talking about, because the bond market says, hey, that was the past. We're looking ahead. It's going to get even slower, right? I know you want to say 2%, Federal Reserve, but you're wrong. Stock market still got, almost 3%. And this is why you're going to see the end of the dollar rally, because, right, the dollar's head straight because, wait, we're better than everybody else. Maybe we're not. And gold now setting itself up here, the bond market setting itself up, right? The bond market's telling you rate cuts are coming. I think rate cuts are coming. We're going back to zero. I'm going to tell you right now, the balance sheet Right? Forget about the runoff, right? We already know they're going to stop that. They're going to start adding again. And before that happens, you want to be in that gold market. Got a great item today. You know, we always tell you, listen, you want to buy the right gold. You want to buy the most private gold possible. In other words, you can buy it, sell it, trade it, and you don't have to worry about 1099s. And you want to buy as close to spot as possible. It's just that simple. Every once in a while, we'll have the graded coins on sale. Because I don't really recommend you buy them unless I've got them on sale. Because this is the coins, right? Everybody else will charge you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars over spot for. We've got 75 MS, which is Mint State 61 $20 gold pieces. Right? These are coins that's like 7 grades higher than what we would normally sell. And you know, all the stuff we carry, it's all good-looking stuff. Right? And everybody knows that. They're not worn flat and all worn out and bent and holes and this and that. But these are encapsulated, right, in that hard plastic case. Somebody looked at it under a microscope, right? I mean, you know, trying to determine how many bag marks these coins had. These were coins that never made it out of those treasury bags, right? They didn't get used as money. They just sat in a vault somewhere. Right after the stagecoach bounced it around, you know, the country, probably ended up on a ship and headed to Europe, got bounced around some more and put into a vault, only to be rebought 100 years later and graded by PCGS or NGC, the two best grading houses. And I don't know which, you get one or the other. Right now, our regular ungraded 20s, they're $14.35 an ounce. You know, you think about gold right now at $1,312. That's a great price. You know, because a regular price is a great price. We've got graded Mint State 61. So you got XF, VFs, AUs, right? You got the BUs. Right, then you got Mint State 60, and then the Mint State 61. Right, so that's 6 grades higher. $14.20. $15 a coin less than our ungraded ones. That's when you buy them. 800-951-0592. Mint State 61, $20 Liberty gold pieces. Right? And you think about it. This is 1866 to 1907. Remember, after the Gold Eagle Act, these got reclassified as collectibles. And, of course, with the stroke of endless, we don't know what's going to happen. I got a pretty good idea. Right? Electronic currencies are coming. We're going to default. Looks like, at least in my opinion, that we could have some type of hopefully, right, a gold-backed digital currency because we're going to need credibility. I don't know. I think that's what the Chinese are going to do. That's what I think. That's just how they're going to make their play to be the new reserve currency. But the only gold you got to keep when they confiscated it the last time was collectibles. Right? If you had a collectible coin, you could keep it. So these are that. All pre-33 U.S. gold that's still in existence. Right? Because most of it allegedly got melted down, and that's the gold that's in Fort Knox. It's considered to be a collectible. Now you get a graded coin without the graded coin prices. $1,420 at 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. on the silver side of things, listen, I got great prices on silver rounds still. So if you're looking at getting into silver and you want to pay, like $1 over spot, give us a call there on U.S. I'll say U.S. They're silver rounds. (800-951-0592) Patriot Radio News Hour. This is how we been here for, it's getting hard. I'm running out of fingers and hands. 23 years? It's a long time. Sponsor free, right? We don't sponsor anybody. We sponsor ourselves. I don't have any fancy spokesperson. I'm it. Jason and Brian, right? They're starting to be mini celebrities now in Colorado. Graded Mint State 6120s, $15 less. That may be a new number. I don't know. I know that we've sold them for the same. I think once we were $5 less, and maybe even 10. First time I know of that I can remember that we're $15 less. And here's the problem. I don't have any of the cheap ones. That's the problem. So $1,420 today at 800-951-0592. Gold's up now 6, now 13. So I think we're at $107 over. I got a feeling that by the end of the day, maybe $100 over, maybe less. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Dow's down 395 right now as we're starting to get the pre-warnings. We're a couple of weeks away from earnings season kicking off, and we're starting to hear. We heard from Nike, we've heard from UBS, we've heard from FedEx, just to name a few, all of them cutting guidance. We had more closures, retail closures, Lifeway, Christian bookstores, hit 170 stores going out of business. Shopko. They were going to leave 120 stores open. Remember, they had already announced that they were closing hundreds of stores. They announced the other day, you know what, forget it, no buyers. No more Shopkos. They're closing their remaining 120 stores as well. And, oh, by the way, you know what? I didn't know this. The U.S. government, this was a good one, canceled 362,000 passports last year because Americans owed back taxes. This is right. Listen, this is a big problem. Nobody's got any money. Can't pay my taxes, can't pay my credit card, can't pay my student loan, can't pay my house, can't pay my car. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. So I guess 362,000, by the way, started in 2021. This is how the world's changing. Americans will require permission to visit Europe. Technically, the 26 borderless countries of the whole entire EU, you now have to fill out a form. They say, don't worry. It only takes about 10 minutes, and it's only going to cost, at least initially, it says $8. So by 2021, I'm sure it'll cost about $100, where you get to apply to ask, hey, am I worthy enough to come over here? The EU says it'll grant about 95% of Americans who apply. 3 years of access to the region, by the way, when you do that. In case you wanted to go to Europe before do it before 2021, because if you want to do it in 2021, you're going to have to apply for permission and pay for the privilege. Man, the world's changing fast, isn't it? 800-951-0592. Pick up those graded 20s. What a price. $1,420. Mint State 61s. Everyone take care. Listen, have a great weekend. We'll be back next week.